SADHGURU'S teachings.
Living on the land literally. Migration to the city is going to be so large in the next 15, 20 years. We cannot manage. Already cities are becoming more cities are engineered. The migration is going to be so big. Unless you make living on the land really trees, otherwise quite more than practical now, it will give you this expansion.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. So, I want to know the truth about rebirth and reincarnation. In one of my movies, I play a character who's reborn with the same traits. Is that even possible?
Namaskaram, Kajal. When you say rebirth, you're essentially asking what happens after death. Well, some things you know best only by experience. I'm sure you're not ready for that, nor do I want you to go in that direction.
If I tell you there is reincarnation, what is the option that you have? To believe it or disbelieve it? Isn't it? If you believe what I say, you just have a fancy story going for yourself. If you disbelieve it, you have something to deny. Both ways only entertainment will happen. Nothing else will happen, isn't it? If you really want to know, you must be willing. If you're willing to apply yourself, there is a way to know. In my life, it's a living reality. The last 3 lifetimes for me are in the same place, same work, to some extent same people. Till it becomes a reality in your experience, you should not believe this nonsense.
Don't believe anything, don't disbelieve anything, but if you just pay attention to yourself, you can see the body that you carry is something that you slowly accumulated. So the body that you carry is a piece of this planet actually. The mind that you carry is a heap of impressions that you gathered. So what is it that accumulates this heap of food and heap of information as mind and body? That dimension is beyond birth and rebirth. You may once again accumulate another body and another mind, but essentially life as such is the same thing. So, when it comes to life, you must understand there is something called as my body and your body, there is something called as my mind and your mind, but there is no such thing as my life and your life. Life is just a cosmic happening. This is a living cosmos. How much of life you captured will determine how large a life you live. What is the scope and spread of your life will simply depend on how much life you captured within yourself. The entire science of yoga is just about this, how to make this life super enhanced so that the scope and spread of this life is as much as it can be.
Yoga is not about standing upside down.
Yoga is not something you do when you only retire.
Yoga is not about twisting your body.
Yoga is not only about having a six-pack.
Yoga is not just to make you look good.
And now my Guru, Sadhguru, will tell us what yoga really is.
As there is a science and technology for external well-being, there is a whole science and technology for inner well-being. This is what yoga is about. If you learn to use it, it will definitely work for you irrespective of who you are.
How can you avoid angry?
How can you avoid? Yeah, if you're driving on the Coimbatore streets, you have to avoid the medians which are placed in odd places. You have to avoid bad drivers. You have to avoid drunken men crossing the street, children crossing the street, all kinds of things. But when you're driving on Coimbatore street, do you have to avoid the moon? I'm asking you, do you have to avoid the moon? No, because the moon is not on the street, isn't it? So similarly, right now are you angry? No? Then why should you avoid it? There's no need to avoid it. It is just that you think anger is an entity. Anger is not an entity. You become angry. You become angry. Anger is not sitting somewhere and you go hit it. There is no such thing. You become angry. When you become angry, is it pleasant for you or unpleasant for you? Unpleasant for you. Unpleasant for others for sure, unpleasant for yourself also. Today, medical science proves to you, when you're angry, you're actually poisoning your system. We have always known this, but today chemical tests clearly show you that you're actually poisoning your system, generating poison in the system by being angry. So, why would you want to poison yourself? It is not a conscious act. You're poisoning yourself, you're causing unpleasantness to yourself only because your mind is not taking instructions from you, isn't it? It is not taking instructions. If it was taking instructions from you, you would have said blissfulness, isn't it? You wouldn't say anger. But now when you want to be peaceful, it is getting angry because it is not taking instructions from you. So if your mind is not taking instructions from you, you have to pay a little more attention to it. Why is it not taking instructions from you? If you understand this, you don't have to avoid anger, because anger is not sitting there and getting at… You are becoming angry, you are becoming unhappy, you are becoming miserable. These things are happening to you essentially because you have not done anything to take your faculties under your control. It is happening accidentally, just by chance. If outside situations are good, you are also good. If outside situations are bad, you're also bad. That is not how human life should be. Human life should be like this. If I am good, everything around me becomes good. This should be the reality, isn't it? Right now, if things around me are whichever way, I will become that way. No. Human consciousness should create situations. Right now, situations are creating human consciousness. That's not the right way to shape human life.
This is the space in the body through which life descends into the fetus. So this is the Brahmarandra. If dimensions beyond the physical become a constantly active process, some of you might have felt this in your Shambhavi. You got an antenna on your head which is giving you a certain perspective of life. If you have a newborn baby in your home, you would see a certain part of the skull is not formed. Have you noticed this? So the child has to be handled gently, that part is just skin, there is no bone. So, this part in the yogic terminology is referred to as Brahmarandra. Randra means a passage, like a small hole or a tunnel or a passage. So this is known as Brahmarandra. So this is the space in the body through which life descends into the fetus. Because life has descended into the fetus and life keeps its options open. Whether this body is capable of sustaining it or not, it keeps the options open. That much awareness is there in the life process, so it keeps that trapdoor open till the last minute. It wants to keep it open just in case it finds the body unsuitable for its existence, it will leave. And it does not want to leave from any other passage in the body, it wants to leave the way it came. A good guest always comes through the front door and goes out through the front door. If he comes through the front door and goes out through the back door, that means your house is swept clean. So, he wants to go out to the same door, so he keeps it open till the last minute, he wants to keep his choices. There are any number of… probably if there are doctors or obstetricians, you would know, there are any number of cases where by all medical parameters, the fetus is healthy, everything is fine, but for some reason, a stillbirth happens. Simply because the life within is still choosing. If it finds the wrong kind of body is happening, life has its own karmic substance and the fetus has the karma of the parents. So, it has made its choice, it is 90% of the time it is correct or more, it is correct. Sometimes it is conscious that it could make a wrong choice. So this is the reason why during pregnancy, so many precautions were taken to create a different kind of atmosphere around a woman who is pregnant. We are giving that up now, a woman goes to work, she sits in the cinema, she goes all over the place. Such a thing is not maintained anymore. This was done just hoping something better than who both of you are comes into your womb. You know what I'm saying? You are husband and wife, you are of a certain quality. You want your child to be of a higher quality than who you are, not just like you. Someone better than you should come into your womb, so that for that sake, even a husband was not allowed to see a woman beyond a certain stage of pregnancy, because she is to be kept in a certain state of comfort and well-being, with a certain type of thought, with a certain type of atmosphere, trying to please her system in all ways, right kind of incense, right kind of sounds, right kind of mantras, right kind of food, everything, so that her body is in a state that it welcomes the right kind of being. Maybe in today's world it is all these things are out of question. So if a being enters into this particular fetus and finds it unsuitable as it evolves to become a baby, then it leaves. That is why one door is kept open. So this is the Brahmarandra. And even when you leave one day, you can leave whichever way. But if you leave through the Brahmarandra, it is the best way to live. If you live consciously whichever part of the body, it is fine. But if you can leave from there, it is the best way to live. So because there is lot of talk about this, there are books which have been written about it. One thing is, there's a huge possibility that individual people may start imagining things on top of their head or between their forehead, they keep imagining many things. So you need to understand this. Wherever you focus your mind, there will be some twitching. If you want, right now you experiment, hold your little finger like this and focus at the tip of this little finger, you will see within a minute's time there will be twitching. Any part of the body, if you focus your mind, some twitching you will notice. So that is not to be mistaken as some other great process happening within you. Or of course, there are physiological twitches and twists happening here and there. Once in a way it happens to you, you're sleeping, some part of the body, little bit of twitch and this and that. Especially if you're very nervous, it could happen to you quite often. If you're at ease, it may not happen. If you're in a little bit of tension or stress, it could happen to you in different parts. So that is not to be mistaken either. I don't know if I should say this, because if I say this, you may start imagining all kinds of things. If you become meditative, now that you are becoming, as you do Shambhavi, I shouldn't say this, it'll lead to all kinds of things. Because people have a very wild imagination. I always avoid telling them anything which is not in their experience, because they will start imagining all kinds of things. Anyway, if you don't do this to yourself, it's not necessary. If I hold my hand above my Brahmarandra, even up to 4 feet above, if you hold it, you will see a clear feeling in your hand, which is always in the form of something like an ache. This will be always happening if you keep your energies in a certain way. This can happen to every human being, but it is happening within. It doesn't extend itself beyond, because the final 2 chakras out of the 114 chakras that are there in the system, 2 chakras are outside the body. If dimensions beyond the physical become a constantly active process, some of you might have felt this in your Shambhavi, for a few moments, you feel something beyond yourself has become active. So if a dimension beyond your physicality becomes a continuously active process within you, then after some time, these 2 chakras which are dormant and outside the body become active. If they become active, there is you got an antenna on your head. You seen a police antenna? You got an antenna on your head, which is giving you a certain perspective of life.